Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, we talk with our resident expert on what's going on with equipment sales and financing. Sam O'Toole with New Frontier Ag will review the summer and look at a busy fall season. We also have features from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, along with our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and Paragon Ag Advisors.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, KFB.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
And agricultural news from agview.net. A Kansas State University agricultural economist says a law that once required mandatory reporting of the origin of meat sold in grocery stores likely didn't have an impact on consumers' demand for those products. Dr. Glenn Tonzer has completed an analysis of meat demand before, during, and after USDA implemented mandatory country of origin labeling for meat products. You probably remember it as MCOOL. That law was in place in the U.S. from 2009 to 2015. It required food labels in grocery stores to include a statement that indicated where the animal was raised before it was harvested for a meat product. Essentially, Tonzer says if beef and pork products went through the grocery store, then they had to be labeled. With that labeling, though, comes the cost of compliance, and that goes into a benefit cost assessment and an attempt to quantify the benefit. He said that they tried to determine if the impact on the demand for meat of the law, and ultimately if there was a positive benefit cost ratio. He said there was no evidence of a positive demand development following the implementation of the law. So he said you don't have an evidence of benefit, you don't have evidence of a cost, and so it's not a desirable benefit cost ratio. And that and other factors led to the law being repealed in late 2015. Now, recent drivers in meat demand more likely due, he said, to consumers' higher preference for protein diets, and the population mix from a decade ago has changed. Tonzer and his colleagues have published a paper outlining many of the factors that affected meat demand before, during, and after MCOOL was in place. You can find that fact sheet and more online, agmanager.info. Well, dairy producers can now enroll in the dairy margin coverage for calendar year 2020. USDA's Farm Service Agency opened sign-up recently for the program. It helps producers manage economic risk brought on by milk price and feed cost disparities. The DMC program offers reasonably priced protection to dairy producers when the difference between the all milk price and the average feed cost, which is the margin, falls below a certain dollar amount that's selected by the producer. Now, the deadline to enroll for the DMC for 2020 is coming up on December 13th of this year. Dairy farmers earned more than $300 million from the program in 2019 so far, and producers are encouraged to take advantage of this important risk management tool for the coming year. Find out more, farmers.gov. You can find more on these stories, plus reaction from the agreement reached with Japan and what it means for U.S. beef, wheat, and other ag products, plus crop progress condition information, as well as more on those USDA reports. All that and more at agview.net. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
It's time now for our quarterly update of what's going on in the machinery business. And Sam O'Toole, New Frontier Ag in McCook, Nebraska, joins us. Sam, as we are now into fall, let's maybe first go back and talk about how summer was and kind of how things stack up as we get right into harvest.
Well, Ken, summer was a little slow. I think guys were just apprehensive of buying things. They didn't know how things were going to turn out here. And I think with some of these payments coming through and crops looking good, and we had good moisture through the summer, our last 2 months have been pretty good. A lot of activity.
And, of course, we just see nothing but corn and soybeans almost everywhere. And so how did you have a lot of call for combines or maybe adding an additional combine this fall?
You know, we're seeing a lot of interest in used combines and a lot of support equipment like grain carts, header trailers, stuff like that, extra heads. It seemed like guys were planning on having a long wait at the elevator and wanting to have that extra grain cart in the field or an extra semi trailer, something like that.
What, as far as price range, or did we see some softening in the market at all, or good late model equipment is still pretty strong?
You know, the combines still haven't found their right place in the market. The big companies have held off on building a lot of new ones, so the new inventory is really tight. Still trying to get rid of some of that used inventory. It seems like those low-hour machines are still kind of hard to move if you're trying to get a premium out of them, because there's so many machines out on the market right now, and people are really trying to dump them and move them. So there are some real bargains out there if you look hard enough.
It wasn't that many months ago you and I talked that seemingly four-wheel drives were back kind of in vogue and something that the farmers really needed to have, like the loader tractor of a couple years ago. Where are we at with four-wheel drives?
You know, I'm still seeing that, and the guys I talk with, we're still seeing a strong demand for that. We're seeing a lot of guys, and I think that has a lot to do with the bigger tillage and the higher horsepower demands of the tillage that is being designed and built nowadays.
We're talking with Sam O'Toole, New Frontier Ag in McCook. We've kind of getting an update on how the summer was, looking into fall. We'll take a break and come back, and we're going to talk about financing and some of those options and how that market is working right now. So stay with us. More coming up.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum. Growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com and agview.net, serving the Beef Belt and Western Corn Belt with reliable and relevant agriculture information. agview.net.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source. agview.net.
And joining us is Sam O'Toole from New Frontier Ag, just right across the border in McCook, Nebraska. And Sam services a large area, primarily late model equipment and other things that he finds for folks. And so he's kind of our expert. We talk about what's going on in the machinery and equipment business. And so the other thing, Sam, that you've had a lot of experience with is how to finance these machines. And so we always want to kind of get what's on the ground when it comes to finance options from banks to other sources of credit.
Well, interest rates keep coming down, so it's cheap to finance right now. It seems like the banks and companies like AgDirect and Diversified, they're all coming out with good programs to finance this equipment. The interest rates are good. As long as you got good credit, there's programs out there to use, and they're wanting to loan money.
So, good time to maybe to shop around and say, look, and based on credit score or worthiness, you might be able to find even a better deal maybe than that first one.
Absolutely. We're seeing a lot more actual retail financing than leasing here nowadays. The leases I've been looking at aren't near as advantageous as they were, say, 3 years ago.
Okay, so we've looked at the financing. We've looked at kind of where we are. Let's just go kind of on your business. What calls are you getting? What seems to be on the mind of your customers and folks that see the service that you provide? What are people in search of?
It's kind of across the board. We're not really, we had a lot of interest in grain carts here the last couple months. We're still having quite a bit of interest in those land rollers, and probably after harvest we'll probably see that too, rolling the corn stalks and whatnot. Vertical tillage machines are still a pretty hot item. Big horsepower tractors have been soft here the last couple of years, I think just because of the cost of them. Small tractors, small loader tractors have been pretty hot. And I think a lot of what's hot has to do with how much they cost and what the banker's willing to let the guys buy. And I think that's what we're seeing. A lot of the stuff under $100,000 or right around the $100,000 range is what's getting sold right now.
So it still is, and based on the market facilitation payments and so on, and even though we know commodity prices aren't what they are, but looks like we're going to have pretty good yield. So there may be some money, maybe some opportunity. So probably the best thing to do is if you know that something needs to be replaced or maybe you want to upgrade, probably get a hold of you and say, hey, Sam, this is what I'm looking for. It may be 6 weeks from now, based on all these different factors, because it'll take you a little bit because you kind of scour all over the countryside.
Yep. And depending on what you're looking for, some things are real easy to find and others are kind of hard to come by right now.
All right. Sam, now folks want to learn more about you, your business, how you can help them find the piece or even sell the piece of equipment maybe that they don't need anymore. How can they do that?
You can look at our website, newfrontierag.com, or call us at 308-340-8989.
All right, Sam, always good to catch you up with you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sam O'Toole, New Frontier Ag, joining us. We'll have more coming up in just a moment.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Hi, I'm Emily Cope, and I work for the Kansas Corn Growers Association, and I'm the Eastern Kansas Representative and Market Development Coordinator. One of the other programs I work on are collegiate programs, and we are excited to begin offering again this year a lot of the programs that we did last year. One of those includes our Collegiate Academy, which is a group of about 6 to 8 students who really dive deep into the corn industry, and the whole goal is to open them up to different career opportunities in the corn industry. So we focus on things from ethanol to the livestock industry. They get to spend a day in Topeka learning about policy, as well as Washington, D.C. They spend a week there going to different sessions, meeting with industry. So they really get to see from the Corn Growers Association side what we do on the policy standpoint there. So that's Collegiate Academy. And then we also have a scholarship program, and this is open to all students in the state of Kansas to apply. And so we encourage students to apply for our $1,000 scholarship to really support their continuing education there. And then a few other programs that we have is we have a Career Connections program, and this is again to connect students who are in colleges all across the state of Kansas to different career opportunities in agriculture. So we feature a panel, normally about 2 to 3 industry professionals who are local in that area, and we want to bring them to your campus, whether it be in a classroom or a club or organization event. So we have a Career Connections event on campus at K-State. A few others scheduled for this year include Washburn Law School, as well as Pitt State University, and going out to Colby as well. So we'd love to get onto all campuses across the state of Kansas. So if you're interested, check out our website and learn more about a few of those events.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses and rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery, and so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously. So I'm tickled to death with the results, and I'd recommend this process to anyone.
Kansas State University recently released 3 new wheat varieties, which will be available to farmers in fall 2020. The new releases include 2 hard red winter wheat varieties, KS Western Star and KS Dallas, and 1 hard white wheat, KS Silverado. The wheat breeding program at Kansas State, with locations in Manhattan and Hayes, receives funding from the Kansas Wheat Commission through the 2-cent wheat checkoff. KS Western Star was named after the Western Star Milling Company in Salina. It is adapted to central and western Kansas. It had greater yields than any other hard red winter wheat varieties in tests in 2017 and 18. KS Western Star has resistance to stripe rust, leaf rust, and soil-borne mosaic virus. KS Dallas is adapted to the western half of Kansas, with a strong disease package with wheat streak mosaic virus resistance. It has moderate resistance to stripe rust and good resistance to leaf rust and stem rust. KS Silverado is a hard white wheat adapted to central and western Kansas. It has very good pre-harvest sprouting resistance and shows resistance to wheat streak mosaic virus. It has moderate to intermediate resistance to stripe and stem rusts and wheat blast. Whether you're looking for high grain yield, rust resistance, heat and drought tolerance, resistance to wheat streak mosaic virus, or milling and baking quality, Kansas State University's wheat breeding program has a variety for you. These 3 new varieties will be available to Kansas wheat farmers in fall 2020.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
I'm Crystal Carruthers. I am the Women's Chair for the 7th District. I started out on our Harper County Board, and then I got elected to state YFNR, and then through YFNR I was able to be on resolutions as the YFNR rep, and then after I was finished with that, it took me here to be nominated for the Women's Chair for our 7th District. I feel like you get to kind of show your strength and learn different parts of Farm Bureau and what it does for the everyday farmer. I mean, with YFNR, you're reaching just a different demographic and able to reach those starters and those ones that maybe they're trying to take over the farm or they just have different needs. And then you go to resolutions and you get to learn more about the grassroots almost part, where how those resolutions get started. And yeah, they're definitely grassroots because they come directly from our farmers and just work their way up, and then we vote on them at annual meeting. And then I'm just getting started at Women's Chair, so I'm still trying to figure out my role in that. Definitely education. I've been a teacher for 14 years and now I'm a principal, so that education is really important to me. I think everyone's just worried about health care. I mean, you see it in the news, you see it, you hear it at the coffee shops, and I think what Farm Bureau is trying to do right now and start this benefit is going to be amazing for all our members.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new health care coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
K-State students majoring in animal science and veterinary medicine traveled across the state this summer to perform beef quality assurance assessments at feed yards. Over the 3-month time period, the group assessed 32 Kansas feed yards representing a total of 690,000 head of cattle on feed. This program is a collaboration between K-State, KLA, and the Kansas Beef Council To serve on the BQA team, students had to become BQA certified and then attend a BQA feed yard assessment training. Students also had to demonstrate a working knowledge of low-stress cattle handling, animal welfare, and an understanding of its importance to beef consumers. The students operated with guidance from K-State veterinarian Dan Thompson and KLA Feedlot Division Executive Director Clayton Huseman. The BQA Feed Yard Assessment Program focuses on the areas of animal welfare, record keeping, protocols, facilities, and equipment. Feed yards that train employees in BQA and complete the assessment can be listed on the feedyardassessment.org website as a BQA-approved feed yard. The assessment must be updated every 3 years and can be done as a self-assessment or by second or third-party assessors. To schedule a feed yard assessment, call 785-477-5150 or email bqa@vet.kstate.edu. There is a fee charged for conducting the assessment.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device, news and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Good morning. Mitch Dewar here with Paragon Ag Advisors. Trade talk and weather are two things that have been a great challenge for producers this year. With freezing temperatures occurring this week in the Northwest Corn Belt, farmers are concerned with the maturity of their crop, while the market is looking at the potential yield loss. As of the most recent crop progress report, corn was 7% behind on corn dented and 58% behind on maturity when compared to last year's crop. For soybeans, 72% were dropping leaves compared to 90% last year. With this crop lacking maturity, there could be some yield loss. Along with weather concerns, talks with China continue to draw attention. China and the U.S. have agreed to come to the table for another meeting. The many months of trade talk has left the market numb to it, but with the recent soybean purchases, this meeting might be worth keeping an eye on. Corn is 45 cents off its September lows, and soybeans are 70 cents. If you weren't able to get as much as your crop marketed this summer as you would have liked, this rally could be your second chance. If you don't know how to incorporate this rally into your marketing or have any other questions, please give us a call at 888-452-8751. I'm Mitch Dewar with Paragon Ag Advisors. Have a great day.
Well, that's our show this week. Be social with us online at kansasagreport.net. Like us on Facebook, Kansas Ag Report Television Show. Follow us on Twitter at Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.